One, is Jasmine Crockett cosplaying stupid? We break it down with the most exciting man in broadcasting, the 7'3" tinfoil Pat. 2, Time magazine honors President Donald Trump with the most unflattering photo on the cover. We break it down with the host of Spot On with Link Lauren. 3, who are the true blue bloods in college football? James Franklin's been fired from Penn State. Do they have blue blood running through their veins, capable of bringing in the cream of the crop of coaches? It is Will Cain country on this Tuesday. We welcome you into a big show where we've got the crew with us. We've got Tinfoil Pat. We got Two-A-Days Dan. And we have questions after our visit from Jeffrey Mead about everybody's height, the validity, the certainty, the proof of everyone's height. We're going to get into that a little bit later here in the country, but let's get started first with story number 1. Today, Charlie Kirk will be honored at the White House by President Donald Trump. He will be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, a service and an award ceremony that will kick off as scheduled around 4 p.m. Eastern Time. From the White House will include luminaries, notable figures, and a tribute to Charlie Kirk. We'll be carrying that live for you today on The Will Cain Show. But as we get ready for a day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk, we are going to keep you up to date on everything happening in the news. And for that, we bring in not just Two-A-Days Dan, but the most exciting man in broadcasting, the number 1 team in the Ruthless Country Fantasy Football League. It feels like licking your finger and sticking it into a socket. Get ready for the ride. It is Tinfoil Pat. The man, the myth, the legend that pronounces the word posthumously in his own particular and unique broadcasting style.
Luckily, we're not talking about that story in quick takes, Will. So we're going to start off with one of our favorite people, Representative Jasmine Crockett, who had this to say this government shutdown.
No, you are not confused.
Okay.
All right. You are a lawmaker. You understand how this works. And, Republicans don't know how to count. But here's the thing. When you're in a legislative body, you control everything. So if the government shuts down, it's on y'all.
So it's on Republicans, the government shutdown. And she also had this to say about
Giving
President
an interview.
Trump. Yes.
No, it's okay. It's just hard to know. You never know.
Never know. It's like Jeffrey Mead.
It's just hard to never know. It's like Jeffrey Mead. Is he done?
Yeah.
Is he in the middle? Is he just getting started?
We'll do the full screen in a minute.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh.
No, I'm going to play chicken. I'm going to win.
Right?
No, we're not doing that. We're going to keep it.
Just give it right to Will. Let's go with the host here.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Yep. Good idea. Okay. Giving an interview to a podcast where the host said, was he confused? But for the fact that the Republicans own the Senate and the House and therefore are responsible for the government shutdown, Jasmine Crockett says, no, you are not confused. When you control the legislative body, you control the government shutdown. Jasmine Crockett is apparently bad at math, or pretends to be bad at math. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to pass a continuing resolution. Republicans do not control 60 votes in the Senate, requiring the participation of Democrats to get this passed. So far, only 3 Democrats have joined Republicans, meaning they don't have the 60 votes. They're currently sitting, I believe, at 55. The necessity is there for 5 more Democrats. I think it's an interesting tell when someone is lying, their body language and what they do. In that clip, Jasmine Crockett not only folds her arms, but folds her shirt tighter around her body. And I don't know, I just think there's something about that. If you were sitting in the room and you saw Jasmine Crockett kind of take her shirt, do this. I know it sounds little, but I'll tell you what, watch it again. You tell me, okay? I'll tell you what. Tinfoil. Or not tinfoil. God help us. Two-a-days. If you can play Jasmine Crockett without the sound, can you do that? Can you play it without the
Give me 1
sound?
sec.
And you just tell me if you think this person is telling the truth. I think body language is fascinating. I used to love when Bill O'Reilly had a body language expert on. But you tell me if this body language doesn't read false. Go ahead, take it away.
So she's talking for the audio
Okay.
audience.
Yes. Yeah. Now watch. Oh, adjust her seat, both butt cheeks, shirt wrapped up tight, crosses. You tell me. That is the ultimate defensive posture right there. I don't know, man. That says to me you're lying. And she is lying. Or she's stupid. She doesn't understand you need the 60 votes.
Hiding
Now,
something.
Here is the element. Exactly. Hiding something. Covering up. Not open and bold. Here's the element that Tinfoil Pat so desperately wanted to read when he got started with his engine and he couldn't find any ability to stop. Jasmine Crockett posted on to X, raising hell at home and then pretending to be the president of peace is diabolical. Now, here's the question. Here's the question we have. Is Jasmine Crockett stupid or is she playing stupid? Now, Tinfoil Pat, I'm going to let you take over the wheel on this, provided you can pronounce the word POSTHOUM. Can you spell it? POSTHUMOUSLEY? No EY. LY?
There you go. Would you like it in a
How did I do,
sentence,
Dan?
Will? You nailed it without
Spell
the
it,
E.
Dan. You've got it in front of me?
POSTHUMOUSLY.
Oh, I did nail it. I did, yes. All right, pronounce it, Tinfoil.
So I couldn't even spell it. So let's see. Posthumously.
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 God,
You've
that
got
got
an R
me.
in there.
That got me real good earlier.
Is that right?
I'm Tinfoil. Pronounce this word. CACHOPHNY.
I have no idea what you just said.
Tinfoil, do
Let's do. Hold on. I
CACH.
can't even picture it. CACH.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
O
Symphony.
PH.
PH.
Huh? ONY. ONY.
I just texted it to you. Just read it.
Read that word.
Symphony.
Cacophony.
Huh?
Symphony. I'm trying to remember. I know it's not.
Okay.
It's not quite what it's supposed to be.
Cacophony, homie.
Cacophony. That's right. Cacophony. Yeah.
I've told you guys this story, right? That I used to. I am somewhat sympathetic to Pat not being able to pronounce words that he's read. Although on posthumously, you are adding an R. You're adding letters in there. Posthumously is not posthumously. But I'm sympathetic because I read words more than I hear them. And then when I say them out loud, I say them the way that I've been reading them, having not heard them. And sometimes I just, do a pronunciation in my head when I'm reading. And I was on CNN and I pronounced that word cacophony.
No, you did not.
And
We
Yeah, I
need
did.
video evidence.
I think it makes sense if you read it.
I'm calling CNN.
Cacophony. It looks like. Which
It
one
does.
sounds like what's the definition of cacophony? A cacophony is like racket, noise, right? A
Yes.
symphony of noises.
A harsh discordant of mixture of sounds.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I think if I asked you which way of saying this word is more representative of what it actually is, cacophony or cacophony? I mean,
like
a cacophony
cacophony.
sounds like a harsh. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what it should be, right?
I mean, all words are made up anyway, so it doesn't
Cacophony
matter.
is too smooth. Cacophony sounds like turn off that cacophony.
It's true. I agree. Let's change it.
All right. Is Jasmine Crockett cosplaying stupid? All right, now we turn it back over to Tinfoil Pat.
Yes. Well, we have dug up this clip of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett from right before she was, I guess, sworn in. So what do you think? Do you think that she sounds like she's playing the same role?
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year.
Sound.
You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin. Now
You got your
looks
audio
like a
turned
little
down
bit over a
2
year
days.
ago.
Hang on a second.
This is a train wreck.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now
Nope.
looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress.
Nope.
It's just not what my plan was. But what
On the
I've
Will Cain
always
Country
decided
Show.
is that I would step up.
It played. Don't worry. It's just in one ear.
It played to everybody but me?
Exactly.
Well, I'll have to ask the audience then, because I didn't hear it. Well, what does she sound like in that clip? I don't know which one of you maestros to turn it over to here. Which
spoke
one,
very eloquently.
What did she sound like?
She spoke very eloquently, and she was speaking with a soft tone, and she was, saying things that, just in a very, very nice,
Imitate
eloquent
it.
way. Yeah.
Matter of factly.
Imitate. Give me an impression.
Oh.
I think that's you, Dan, since you can't turn the
you can do that.
audio right.
You can do that one yourself.
I'm terrible
Show
at
me-
impressions, though.
The question is it cosplay? Can you guys give me an impression of the two versions of Jasmine Crockett
No.
so that I know?
No.
Dan, you know you want to. Dan, you know you
I
want
do
to.
not want to.
You did this on the pre-show call, but not now.
Oh, no.
Come on, Dan. I didn't hear it. You didn't fix my audio, so I didn't get to hear the two different versions of Jasmine Crockett. So since you didn't produce the show well, technologically,
Wow.
you need to now give me an audio impression of Jasmine Crockett.
Let's play it.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year.
First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. I'm happy to be here. It's essentially what you sound
Keep
like.
going. Okay,
Absolutely.
awesome.
First of
that
all,
was good.
Yeah.
Now give me the other one.
No. How about we play the other one? Because that has good audio.
No, you can do it.
No, it has really
Give
good
me
audio.
the other one. Why
No,
wouldn't you play the other one? I don't understand. You just did one impression. Do the other impression.
I see the point you're making, and I like it for this purpose, but I'm not doing that.
Republicans don't know how to count. When you're in the legislative body, you control everything. So if the government shuts down, it's on y'all. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
I get
close.
it? I don't know.
That was- and he crossed his arms. And he crossed his arms.
Just trying.
All right, the question is,
We have
you
the
know
other
what's
video.
interesting? Okay. I love putting Dan in the box of making him go home to his wife and her asking him,
Oh, God.
were you racist today on Will Cain Country?
She's watching right now.
And I think we were, yeah, well, see that? He was almost racist. And you can ask him about it. He was almost racist. He almost did a racist impression of Jasmine Crockett. But here's the fascinating thing. Why would you, if you were able to impersonate her, give an impression of her in one version, but not the other, why is it racist? See, she's doing two different versions of herself, right? That's the point we're making here. She is cosplaying a certain version of herself. Now, which version is the real version is an interesting and legitimate question, right? But I think most people assume, like when you can't count to 60 and you can't figure out the Democrats are the ones holding up the government shutdown, it begs the question, are you stupid? But you're not stupid. You're cosplaying stupid. And that's pretty interesting. Why would you cosplay stupid? Why would you cosplay someone that doesn't understand or speaks in this second version style of Jasmine Crockett? Why? Let's just stop and sit in that moment. Why? Why? And that why has tons of interesting conversation and revelations inside of it. Tons. Right? Like, why would that be electorally advantageous for her? Why would that be something that gets her more attention? Why would that be something that gets her socially viral? Why would that be something that she does? Why is the other version of herself the one that she's chosen to leave behind? And why would it be racist if you did an impression of that version of Jasmine Crockett. I think inside the answer to those questions, you get some real authenticity about what's going on with Jasmine Crockett and what by the way, is celebrated. What is off limits? What is real? What is not real? What is right and what is wrong? I think it's clear that Jasmine Crockett is playing stupid. I think it's clear that Jasmine Crockett is playing a certain version of herself. And I think that we can answer the first question pretty easily, like why she's doing that. Oh, because it makes her more popular. But then you get to the more interesting questions. Why does that make her more popular? Right? That's the whole issue. Why is that a version of herself that is rewarded? That's fascinating. That's interesting. All right, go ahead. Topic number 2, Tinfoil Pat.
Topic number 2, Senator Bernie Sanders appears to celebrate the release of Palestinian murderers and terrorists. So during the hostage exchange yesterday, Israel gave over 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, and Senator Bernie Sanders appears to have been celebrating that.
Yeah, Senator Bernie Sanders celebrates release of Palestinian murderers, rapists, and terrorists. He, by the way, similar to the New York Times. The New York Times posted the following on their homepage. Look at this. This is the picture. It's accompanied by a caption on the cover of the New York Times. It says, in Tel Aviv, watching the sunset at the beach on Sunday, hours before the expected exchange of hostages between Israel and Hamas. The exchange of hostages that's how they describe the prisoners released from Israel back into Gaza. Now, if you do a quick little bit of research here, who was released? 2,000 prisoners were released by Israel. Here's what you got. A Palestinian police officer convicted for participating in the lynching of 2 Israeli reservists at the beginning of the Second Intifada in 2000. A Gaza resident who raped and murdered a 13-year-old Israeli boy. Iyad Abu al-Rub, a commander of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Jenin, listed for release in recent negotiations. Kam Abu Shan, a Fatah member who served decades in prison and lost significant weight during his incarceration. 250 convicted prisoners of Fatah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or the Popular Front. Hundreds of these guys have been arrested for murders, terrorist acts, have been arrested in the past and then gone on to recommit offenses. So they're already second time they're going to be released. It's these are not people taken hostage like the Israelis into Gaza. Whether or not they've all had due process or formal charges, they're all suspected of crimes, including, on the vast majority of times, murder. That's not an exchange of hostages. That is a prisoner for hostages exchange. And for Bernie Sanders, the New York Times, to pretend differently, a little bit like the Jasmine Crockett debate, is it to pretend or do they believe it to be the case? I don't know the answer to that on this occasion. But it is absolutely unforgivable to describe these people as simply hostages. All right, and then finally one more in Quick Takes, Tinfoil Pat.
Now, I was saving this one for last because it's one of my favorite. So former President Barack Obama was on the WTF podcast with Mark Maron. I believe it was one of the last episodes. And he had this to say about your good friend, Texas Representative James Tallarico.
But look, there's this young state rep, James Tallarico, who was on there a while back out of Texas.
Oh, that guy's good, right?
He's terrific. A really talented young man. And you know, it does require a certain confidence in your actual convictions to debate and have a conversation with somebody who disagrees with you on a whole bunch of stuff.
Obama pulled a tinfoil Pat.
I know.
I mean,
I said it correctly.
How good could Tallarico be if Obama doesn't know his name, right? It's a really good young fella, James Tallarico.
It's Tallarico fellow.
Mike Tallarico?
Oh wait,
His brother,
Mike Tallarico, the NFL broadcaster. Do you think Obama saw Tallarico in his edited video that went viral, quote unquote, debating me? I do too.
Absolutely.
I do too. And I'm not patting myself on my back. There's only two ways that Tallarico would really hit. Now, I will grant you, Tallarico's popular on the left, right? And he's being described as a rising star. And he was described as that before he had his disingenuous debate with me. He was on Rogan. And Rogan pumped him up, glazed him, as the kids say, right? And so I think because he did well on Rogan, the left is like, oh, Joe Rogan likes him? This is a star on the left. And then he comes on with me and does his disingenuous viral debate moment, which I agree with you 2 days, hit Obama's radar. Now, you say that because in the Brooklyn Brunch crew and in the lefty circles, they all saw it, right? Mm-hmm. Every lefty saw it. Mm-hmm. Basically.
Good for Tarico.
And the takeaway was, the takeaway was that Tarico destroyed a Fox News host who ran to commercial break, right? That was the takeaway.
Essentially, unfortunately. But I corrected the record to many of them, just so you know.
One at a time, yeah.
I'm trying out here in the streets.
I appreciate you doing that. It reminds me of, what was his name? Pappy O'Daniel, running for governor in, what state was it? Pappy O'Daniel running for governor, I'm going to say, in the state of Alabama, in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Did y'all ever see Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, a long time ago.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
Do you remember when he's walking into the radio station with his son, the newfangled radio, and there was a guy sitting out front of the radio station, and the son goes over and shakes his hand and says, "Vote for Pappy O'Daniel." And then he got on, but the father doesn't. The guy running for governor, he goes, "Pappy, what you doing, Daddy? Aren't we politicking here?" He says, "No, you idiot. We ain't one at a time in it here. We mass communicating." So like, you're one at a time in it, and they're mass communicating on the viral that Tarico destroys Will Cain. But I appreciate your one at a time in it, Dan. I do.
4 at a time.
Obama really, really on the Tarico bandwagon. That's his new name, by the way. From now on, he is James Tarico.
Yep.
Calling Sunday Night Football along with Chris Collinsworth. All right, that's going to do it for Quick Takes. Let's take a quick break, come back with Link Lauren, because we want to talk about Letitia James harboring a fugitive. And a remembrance of Charlie Kirk coming up on Will Cain Country. They just can't give him full credit. They just can't do right by President Trump. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel, the Fox News Facebook page, but you can always follow us at Spotify or on Apple. Link Lauren is the host of Spot On with Link Lauren. He's got a new show. He used to be a senior advisor to RFK. He's doing great. What are you up to on YouTube, Link? You got a good following there. I keep up with you.
Thank you so much. I feel like the podcast, we're kind of hitting our stride. I think people think I'm new to everything. I've been around in social media a long time. I can feel we're a few months away from hitting our stride. So I'm super excited about Spot On and how it's going. So thank you for mentioning it. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You're doing a great job. Okay, they cannot give President Trump credit. Now, to be fair, there is a lot of people on the left who are giving President Trump credit. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and he did make the cover of Time magazine. The cover of Time magazine reads, "His Triumph, the leader Israel needed, how Gaza heals." Those are various articles underneath a huge picture of President Donald Trump. Now, Link, it is a picture taken from beneath President Trump. He's got the loose neck skin or chin. It's basically up his nostrils. His hair is disappearing into the bright sky. Mm-hmm. It is incredibly unflattering.
No, the second I saw the Time magazine cover, Will, I knew President Trump was not going to like it, nor should he. But this is what Time magazine does and all of these liberal outlets. They go out of their way to choose the worst pictures of Republicans and conservatives, the worst lighting, the worst angles, and then they edit and they ratchet up the saturation to make you look as bad as possible. If this were Barack Obama, go pull up Barack Obama's Time magazine covers. They made him look like this cool, suave, rock star guy, but this is what they're going to do to President Trump. Trump. And I've had the immense privilege of covering the president. I've traveled with him. You and I were both down in Kerrville with the president. He looks great in person. President Trump is fit. He's tall. He's skinny. His skin looks good. His hair looks good. You have to go out of your way to make him look bad. The guy is handsome, okay? Let's be honest. The guy is handsome, but they try to make him look like this evil, fascist dictator because that's what they've called him for 10 years.
It is intentionally unflattering. There is no doubt about it. And it did not escape the attention of President Trump. Here is what he posted on Truth Social. Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. Each word capitalized. They disappeared my hair and then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Really weird. I never liked taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is a super bad picture and deserves to be called out. What are they doing and why? Here's my favorite thing about his post. Then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. So had it been a large crown, he might have forgiven.
No, absolutely. Maybe he would have forgiven if the crowd had been larger, but I'm glad he called them out. Here's the thing about President Trump. He could be up for days, running on no sleep, but he's got this swagger. He's going to say what needs to be said in the moment because he's a real guy from New York City. He's been dealing with these magazines, these photographers, the press for decades and decades and decades, going back to page 6, the New York Post. So I don't think this is anything new to him, but no, he'd been up for days, and I think he had it. I think he had it, and there's a reason nobody is buying these magazines anymore. There's a reason their sales are in the gutter. You guys might want to reach out to the 77 million Americans who voted for Trump or continue going down.
Link, how old are you?
I just turned 28.
You're so young. Perfect. So on this President Trump thing, everybody does understand, right? A picture from an underneath angle is unattractive. Don't do that, right? Mm-hmm. You understand that, right? You know, you've seen the moms taking the selfies. You know, you want to get a little upward angle. You want to get down, right? You would never take a picture of yourself like this from below, like they did with President Trump. Am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. I think what President Trump needs is maybe a gay sidekick to follow him around and swat those cameras away to make sure the lighting is perfect, the camera angles are perfect. I would have come in there and said, absolutely not. Nope, get out from under there. The only person who should be looking up at you from that angle is if someone's on their knees. No one needs to be seen from that angle unless you bought me a drink first. Okay, let's be honest. No one needs to be looking at you.
So we agree on that. But since you're 28, I just want to see, because we've had this ongoing debate here on Will Cain Country with some of my younger staff members and interns. This is Miller. She's a intern here. And I don't know if you have a return and you can see this. Yeah,
I do.
I took this photo. Thank you. And it's nicely framed, okay? A slight upward angle, right? It's a great photo. Now, let me show you how other people take photos, like my staff, okay? This is how they would take it. Look at that photo. Cut off at the knees, lots of headroom. Like, why do I need all that view of the ceiling, right? But this is how they would take the photo. So which one is better, Link? My photo or my producer Ellie's photos?
Okay, go back to yours.
Right here.
Go back to yours. I think I like yours better. Like, why do I need to see the air vents and the ceiling tiles and the fluorescent lighting?
Exactly.
No, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's a good one. See, that's me too.
Yeah. Your staff looks happy because they have such a great boss. They're so happy to work for you and to work at Fox with Will Cain. They look so happy.
That's right. I just had to get the young people in to talk about the proper way to take a photo. But whether or not you're young or old, we can all agree it's not the way they did it on Time Magazine. All right, Link, today at 4 o'clock is when it's scheduled from the White House. The President of the United States will be awarding the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously to Charlie Kirk. There should be a lot of people involved in the affair today. It's going to be moving, I'm sure. What do you think about Charlie getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom?
I think it could not be more deserved. I think Charlie Kirk is the perfect person to receive the Medal of Freedom. I wish he were still around to receive the Medal of Freedom, but the fact that he can get it posthumously at least makes me a little bit happy for today. What he was able to do reaching young people is something we're going to have a hard time recreating. I don't think there are that many folks who can step in and fill his shoes. I see people trying. I see people auditioning to fill his shoes, but he was a singular once in a generation talent. And when it comes to the Presidential Medal of Freedom, they've given these Medal of Freedoms to people who've done nothing, like Anna Wintour from Vogue. They've given her a Medal of Freedom. They gave George Soros a Medal of Freedom. They've given Hollywood swampy, gross actors medals of freedom. So why don't you give something to Charlie Kirk, who totally deserves it and was a martyr for the cause in this country? I think it's incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I want to follow up on something you said about people kind of trying to step into the shoes of Charlie Kirk. It's a mixed bag. It's like anything in life. In one way, you want Charlie to be an inspiration for others to do something similar, to go out there and speak their truth, speak boldly, own their faith, own their values, own their positions, and also interact with people that disagree with you. And in that way, we've said this, you hope that you would spawn 1,000 Charlie Kirks. But the fact that there have been other people doing almost exactly what he did, which is to go onto campus and have these debates, for me highlights how uniquely qualified and good at this Charlie was. And I'm not trying to take away from those that are doing it. I think my thing is Charlie needs to be an inspiration, not a formula. How about that?
Exactly.
Is that the right way to say it? You know, find your own way to reach the youth. Find something that's authentic to you. Find the thing that you're going to be able to connect with people over. But it's like you got to be the next version of you, not the next version of Michael Jordan.
Absolutely. You know, I've seen a lot of people, even since Charlie Kirk's assassination, they post their text messages with Charlie. They maybe inflate their relationship with Charlie. I've never inflated my relationship with him. I was on Fox and Friends that one time when he hosted, and I was so grateful that he interviewed me and that I got to be on with him. But I would never purport to be super close to Charlie. I never purport to be super close to the folks at Turning Point. But others have jumped in, and I did a video, I think 36 or 48 hours after his assassination, and the video got a lot of attention because within hours of Charlie Kirk's assassination, I saw a lot of people jumping in and trying to audition to fill his shoes. That's not what Charlie Kirk would have wanted, and that's not what he preached on these campuses. If you go look up these videos of Charlie Kirk on campus, even if he's talking to a transgender kid who's confused, he's like, look, God made you this specific way. You don't need to go change yourself. Love the skin you were born in. Be yourself. And I think for young people and folks trying to recreate what Charlie Kirk did, find what makes you unique and what you bring to the table in the discourse. Don't try to emulate him because that's not what he would have wanted anyway.
You know, since you bring this up, I didn't have this, didn't necessarily have this scheduled to talk with you about today, but I just found this fascinating, talking about trans and so forth. Let me see if I can get this to pull up here in the studio. But this is a new study out that shows the share of students identifying as not identifying as male or female. So in other words, non-conforming. It's trans identification, and the caption reads, this is from Fire Data, trans identification is in a free fall, peaking around 2023 with something like, according to an Andover study, 10%, just shy of 10% of kids from 2016 to 2025 identifying as trans. That peaked in 2023, and it's on a steep decline from about let's call it 9.5% down to below 10%. That's according to an Andover study. Both Brown and Fire themselves also show sharp declines over the last 2 years in the number of kids identifying as trans. What do you make of that, Link?
Well, it's interesting. We talk all the time about this woke mind virus and we throw the term around, but there really is a woke mind virus, not even being facetious about this. When you look on social media and some of these algorithms, you have young people who are malleable, impressionable, their frontal lobes aren't connected, and they're being inundated with all of this trans stuff and non-binary stuff. And kids who never would have questioned their own identity are going, well, maybe that's what I should do. Maybe that's who I should be. Instead of just being themselves, they're now inundated with all of this crap. In 2023, you also had folks like Dylan Mulvaney blowing up on the scene with the Bud Light scandal, all of these trans folks coming to you on social media. I think young, impressionable kids who are maybe confused to begin with see that and try to glom on to some sense of identity. But in the culture now, we're having more of a return to normalcy. I would say it started really around November 5th with the election last year, right? We really defeated woke with Kamala Harris and the Biden administration and some of the folks who worked in that administration. So now we're having a return to common sense, faith, family, conservative values. And I think young people are saying, wait a minute, I don't have to change my entire identity to fit in. I just need to be myself.
Yeah, I have two thoughts coming off this. One, it really validates the idea of a social contagion. When you see this happen, it invalidates the idea that so here's it invalidates this argument. Well, there were always trans people. There always have been trans people, but they haven't been felt emboldened to come out. They haven't felt an environment where it's safe to come out. And you can always use that argument in reverse. They can say, oh, with the rise of Donald Trump and all of this, now people are going, quote unquote, back in the closet. I don't think that's what we're dealing with here. What we're actually dealing with is a social contagion where something becomes popular and underlying mental health issues can be mutated into this, find a pressure release valve, so it seems, into this. And something's changed in the last 2 years. And I think it's really fascinating what has changed. You know, sometimes I think about what we do. You know, we talk about this issue, we talk about that issue, and you know what can be done about it. But I actually think all of us, not just me or you, talking about these things and drawing attention to them and highlighting them work. It's when you're silent and you let the culture get away from you that you end up the way that we did from about 2015 to 2024. And it was necessary for people to stand up and go, no, this doesn't reflect me. No, this is not right. And you can call it culture wars and the right, you know, not like in Dylan Mulvaney on Bud Light. But the truth is, it worked. What it worked to do is reveal that's not who we are. And now you're talking about the silent majority actually dictating the culture.
No, absolutely. I mean, even during the last election, the left would say all of these things were culture war issues. And those of us on the right, so many who were independents, maybe disaffected Democrats, like 90s Democrats who wanted common sense and secure borders, we were saying, no, these aren't just culture war issues. They are very serious issues. What you guys are trying to minimize, we see as a big deal, right? The transing of children, putting men and women in sports. These were major issues that galvanized voters and moved them to the polls in November. But the left spent years gaslighting us, saying these aren't a big deal. Don't worry about it. So it is important for us to speak about it. One thing about me, obviously I address the elephant in the room every single time. I don't deny the fact that I'm gay, but I'm a common sense, normal gay guy. I don't want to be lumped in with all the insanity on the left. So I feel a sense of responsibility sometimes to come out and offer a counterpoint because those folks eat up so much of the attention on social media and on the internet. You have to know there's some common sense folks out there.
I have read there's a movement to separate the LGB from the TQ.
Yeah, no, I've heard about this too. You know what's so funny? I don't even focus on LGBTQIA, R2D2 stuff that much in my real life. It's when I come on shows and people ask me about it. I'm perfectly fine if they want to take the LGB away from the T because so many trans folks say, well, it has nothing to do with sexuality. You could be trans and still like this. And I'm like, I'm falling asleep. But if we want to separate, go ahead. For me personally, I don't really care to be in anyone's one community anyway. Like, I'm a grown man. I don't need to sing Kumbaya and braid each other's hair. So y'all go be in whatever community you want to be in. I'll be over here in the land of common sense and reality doing my work every single day.
Right. All right. Last topic. Letitia James is the Attorney General of New York, and she has been now indicted on bank fraud charges, mortgage fraud charges. And now there is a revelation that she's also harboring a fugitive. Apparently, her two nieces living in her house in Virginia have been arrested and charged with crimes including grand larceny, weapons charges, burglary charges, and child abuse charges as well. One of whom was wanted by the law, was at large and living in Letitia James' house. This is the Attorney General of New York harboring a fugitive in her home, one of her nieces, Link.
So when I first saw this story, it was just the most lowbrow, uncouth thing I had seen in a long time. I thought Tyler Perry needs to get cameras over to this dilapidated house immediately. Start filming immediately. This is like some Real Housewives. This is like Bad Girls Club. Letitia James, she's being accused of mortgage fraud. Now we find out she's harboring these criminal nieces in her home. The nieces, I know we probably can't pay for the pictures. I wouldn't either. The nieces are going out in negligees with their breast out there. They have tattoos of guys' names on their breast. I don't know, maybe they're boyfriends or they're fathers of their kids. I don't know. They've got tats on their breast out there. They're walking around. They look like a calamity. Okay. So Letitia James, the last thing I'll say about her is this. She ran on getting Trump. I'm going to get Trump. Well, karma got its kiss for you, Letitia James, because it always comes back around. I've never seen someone come for Trump and win and come out on the other side looking golden, okay? He took on the entire Justice Department and ran a campaign in 2024 and is back in the White House with the House, the Senate, and a majority. So I don't think Letitia James, this is going to go well for her. Maybe she should have been prosecuting her own family who are criminals instead of the president. That could have been a good game plan.
I think so as well. Hey, speaking of the tats you brought up, this will be the last thing since you're 28. This is what's fascinating to me. We talked about like the trans social contagion. I feel like we're also rapidly approaching like roller coaster downhill speed on the face tattoos. You know, in my day and age, a face tattoo said, I have no interest in being employed. But now they're increasingly popular in, I don't know if I would call it, you know, regular workforce communities, but it doesn't carry the, I mean, a face tattoo said, I want to look like I'm in a gang or in prison. And I feel like we've moved beyond it now. Like I see Instagram girls with the face tattoos, and the piercings are another thing. Like the bull ring and you know, we've really gotten out there on the social acceptability of some face art.
Well, it's also like these kids who major in like queer ethnography in college and then they wonder why they can't find jobs. It's like if you have 15 face tattoos like a member of MS-13 in Trinidad Agua, you're probably going to have a hard time getting a job here in the real world. You're not going to get a job on Fox either with a teardrop tattoo. Just call me crazy for that one. But yeah, no, I think these people, maybe they just don't care anymore. They don't have jobs anyway. They're not employed. Maybe they've been watching Mike Tyson and The Hangover. You know, he got a face tattoo. I don't know what it is with the face tattoos. I would never get a tattoo because I am the biggest scaredy cat on earth. I always say I have too much to live for. I am a scaredy cat. I drive below the speed limit. I use my turn signals. I'm not going to get any piercings or tattoos. So I feel like I'm not the most equipped to even answer this question.
All right, Link Lauren, check him out. It's Spot On with Link Lauren, podcast, YouTube channel. Appreciate having you on. Thank you, Link.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, coming up. By the way, I want to break down. Here's my tease for you. Okay, I have a follow-up on face tats. Is a face tat hired at Fox? Do we have any face tatters at Fox? We might. I don't know. I'm curious on where the line is on face tats these days. And second, Link said turn signal. Okay, I want to just introduce an idea to you. Turn indicator. Coming up on Will Cain Country. Willisha, Sarah Wood says, I miss Charlie so much. Happy birthday, Charlie, the 32nd birthday of Charlie Kirk, who today will be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Sophie's mama says, happy heavenly birthday, Charlie. We love and miss you. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel and the Fox News Facebook page, but always available by following on Spotify and on Apple. Jason Tate comments over on YouTube. First time seeing this live, can't help but think, what in my head when seeing Dan? If you know, you know. What do you think, Dan? He's a fan of yours from American Idol?
No, it's from my old show. It's a reference I haven't heard in a very long time, which is very funny. So when I was
So for years, Dan was on the Dan Patrick Show. What is the Dan Patrick Show reference here?
So when I was on the show, I was like behind all the guys on the show, and I didn't have a mic the first few years. And so when they would like talk about me, I would kind of like whip around, and I would just be like, "Huh? What?" Like when they were talking about me. So every time they'd just be like, "Huh?" So it became a whole thing. They made shirts that said, "What?" I just kind of looked like I didn't know what was going on most of the time. So that was the reference.
All right. Look at you. Look at you, Dan, increasing our numbers, bringing your old audience over.
One guy.
I love it, Jason.
One at a time, remember?
One at a time in it here, boys. We're one at a time in it here. And then Ellie Palma. Works on the show here. Says, Will is falsely demonstrating my photo-taking skills. Oh, you want on the camera? What are you doing walking out here? You just want to say one thing. Go ahead.
I didn't actually take that photo that he showed on the screen. So falsely demonstrating,
That is
I
how
do.
you take a photo.
But it's not actually me taking the photos. So
But you would have
can't-
taken one just like that.
No, I wouldn't have.
How would you have taken it?
Way better than that. I would like to say that there is a learning curve, as I am 5'2", and you are not. I
was gonna say, talking about
maybe
height.
taking photos of you is a little bit different.
I know. Look at the height difference here. Dan is really noticing the height
I like
differential.
barely make it to the table.
I know.
So, okay, learning curve, but that is not how I take photos. What did he say? What did he say?
Okay, fine. Misrepresentation of your
Okay,
photo skills.
Thank you. I
Okay,
just
you
wanted
needed
to,
that
I wanted to
admission.
clear that
Yeah.
up. Thank you.
But it is how you take photos. This is actually a good opportunity before we get into Blue Bloods in college football to have a conversation about height. In fact, 2 days, let's do that in Final Takes.
Final take.
All right, so there's been an ongoing conversation about height and the truth here. Jeffrey Mead came onto the show yesterday, former Oklahoma Sooner wide receiver. He's huge on social media, Instagram, TikTok. And it's the first time I met Jeffrey in person, and he is tall, boys. He says 6'5". I think he could be higher.
It's taller.
He could be taller.
I was telling Patrick earlier, I think he's taller than that. He makes you look short, which would be all of us, but yeah.
I know. I'd say I am a quarter inch shy of 6'2". If I were guessing my height, I'm 6'1 and a half, 6'1 3/4, right in that range. That's my guess. Okay. He was much taller than me, much taller. It felt like more than 3 inches. So that led to Tinfoil wants to have a moment of truth on height. That I've been questioning people's height too much, is what you're saying, Patrick.
Yes, Will.
You gotta
So
meet yourself.
I didn't realize. That we were
I don't know
going
when
there.
you're ever going to broadcast. I swear to God, sometimes you broadcast when it's not time to broadcast, and so other times you don't broadcast when it's clearly time to broadcast.
I thought you were going to keep going, so there's a delay, big
Follow,
delay
buddy.
there.
Follow.
So anyway, so our good friend David Marcus was hanging out with Scott Pressler the other day, and he shared this tweet. I don't know if the people at home can see
It's
it.
up on the screen, yep.
Up on the screen. Scott Pressler is 6'5",
Not.
and we had a conversation about that. And David Marcus is 6'2", and you can kind of see that David Marcus does check out. He's well over 6 feet. Could easily be 6'2".
Well, there's no context in this photo. It requires me, this is the logic games, it requires me to assume that Scott Pressler is 6'5". I'd never heard that he's so tall. That Pressler is 6'5".
I think he talked about it last week on the show.
I didn't see this, by the way. I didn't see this tweet. Somehow I missed this. So sorry, David. I would have responded. Otherwise, I didn't see this somehow. He also says we might start a band. That totally looks like a band.
Yeah, it
David
does.
and Scott Pressler together, 100% looks like a band.
Yeah. Who plays
Question
what?
is, yeah, that's exactly my question, Dan. Who's doing what in
David-
this band?
So David sings like Morrissey, and Scott is definitely playing the guitar and slinging his hair around.
I don't know. I see drummer and Scott.
Could be.
He looks like a lot of long-haired drummers.
I think they're competing lead singers who have a band fall out and go solo. That's what I see in this.
like a
I think they
Lennon
both want
McCartney.
to run lead. Yeah. Like, Scott Pressler's got the Creed thing going. I mean, he's at the front. He's out front. I don't see Scott in the back behind the drums.
I don't know.
No.
I do.
And he's definitely not on the bass. This is either a rock god or up front with the long mic stand, okay? But that being said, David does nothing but lead. He's not going to be in the background. Like, that's not, look at him. You know? Look at him. So this, I see trouble. I see a rockumentary on this relationship. I see a rivalry. Yeah. No matter how tall they are. Okay. By the way, that's not the only justice we need to have here on height. Now, Dan, I haven't seen this yet. I literally did not look, okay? So if we're going to have come to Jesus on height, there's been some question about the height of Tinfoil Pat, okay? So we have asked him to submit a picture on how tall he actually is. I don't know why this picture makes me laugh.
It looks like you're
Patrick,
marking
in
your
so
height
many
lines
ways.
at your house.
I was trying.
Patrick,
Listen,
You wear Hey Dudes? You wear
Yeah,
Hey
it's
Dudes?
it's the only shoe that'll fit my foot.
Looks like a mugshot.
Well, what does that mean? How big
I
is
got
your
fat
foot?
feet. I don't have long feet. I have fat feet. They're just fat and
Just
thick.
wide.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to step away from the microphone 2 days while you broadcast because I got to read this tape measure.
Okay.
While you do that, I got to get closer. My eyes aren't so good.
All right, so we have two pictures of tinfoil Pat. One lengthwise up against the wall, one a little tighter so we can see the tape measure and where it's at. And what's the number on that? What's the number there, Will?
It looks like he's coming in at about 73 inches. That's what I would say. For some reason, he has 72 marked, but he's a little above the 72.
Well, that was just to show
So that
you
would
where
make
6
him-
feet was.
Okay.
Not where
so
my height
if this is accurate, and by the way, we cannot see the tape measure go all the way to the ground.
That's what
which
I'm
is
saying.
Sus.
Where is it?
In fact, it only goes halfway down, Patrick.
Where's it
Yeah,
going?
where is the tape measure? It disappears at your hand.
I think it's AI. I think we just confirmed it's AI.
What is this? Say.
That would make you 6'1". Look at your picture, Patrick. Hold on, I'm going to step away again. For anybody watching on YouTube and Facebook, well, follow me here. Here's the tape measure. Where is it here?
Yeah. Wait,
Where
so
is it on the ground?
even if it's crooked, that means it's not real height, which would make him shorter.
Where is the tape measure?
It's
Patrick.
curved.
It's down behind my foot. There it is, like right there. See, if you look, it's like you can see it's all the way down the ground, right by my foot. There, like it's right behind my leg, my right leg. But you can see the little yellow peeking out. I'm zooming in on
I don't
the
see it.
picture.
You were zooming in?
I'm zooming in here.
Yeah, it is there. I see it.
No, I don't see it. Well, if it's diagonal,
You gotta
if
get
that's
tight.
true, you're taller than you have. No, shorter, right,
you're
Dan?
shorter.
Because he's
Shorter.
made it diagonal. Yeah,
No.
because this says he's 6'1". Yeah. A diagonal line is longer than a
Yep.
straight line.
It's math.
All right. Well, I'm at least 6.
Math.
Maybe not 6'1". I definitely lost about half an inch. It looks like from where I was. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll just
but
say
definitely over 6.
we'll just say 6'11". It's fine.
Say I'm over 6.
You're getting nothing past this crew, this crack broadcasting team. You're getting nothing beyond us here. You faked
I can never
that,
win.
and that's not right. Brought it on yourself. All right, there we go. Final takes wasn't final takes today because I want to talk about James Franklin being fired as the head coach at Penn State. You two boys hang around. Here's the question. James Franklin has been fired just a few games into the season as the head coach at Penn State after annually having them in the top 10 and sometimes in the top 5. After 3 bad losses, he has been fired by Penn State as their head coach. Bringing a question up. Who is the next head coach of Penn State? In fact, over on the Willisha, Master Chief, what's up, Master Chief, says, Will, who is your short list for Penn State head coach? Well, I think there is a very clear short list, and some people have already started to write about it. And the answer is Kurt Cignetti, the head coach at the University of Indiana, and Matt Rule, the head coach at Nebraska. The Matt Rule thing is he carries an amazing reputation from his days at Baylor and Temple. What more, he apparently is very, very good friends with the athletic director at Penn State. And Nebraska is an interesting question an interesting example as we lead into this conversation. What does Penn State have the ability to do? Like, where are they? Is this the destination job? Is it something you could get Cignetti to leave Indiana for Penn State? Is it something you could get Rule to leave Nebraska for Penn State? Is it the top of the mountain job? And top of the mountain jobs are few and far between. Final stops in college football, right? After you get this job, you can't be hired away. It's another way of having the conversation of who are the true blue bloods in college football. And I think we've had some real, bombs drop in that respect because one would say that Notre Dame is a top of the mountain job, right? You don't get hired away from Notre Dame. But that's exactly what happened with Brian Kelly going to LSU. One would say Oklahoma is a top of the mountain job. You don't get hired away from Oklahoma to go somewhere else. Most certainly, I think even USC. That feels like a lateral move, not a move higher up the mountain. So, what are the final stop destination jobs? Is Penn State one of these blue bloods? And then who could they get? So I did this. I went to AI, and I just had a couple lists compared that I think are important in this, okay? So, first, here are your biggest football athletic revenue programs in the country, bringing in the most money. And I can share this up on the screen. Ohio State is number one at $251 million in revenue. Texas, number 2. Alabama, 3. Michigan, 4. I think we can all agree. Georgia, 5. All right, they're all above $200 million. Do we all agree? Those are blue blood, top of the mountain jobs. You don't go from one to the other. I don't think you'd see a would you see a Michigan coach get hired by Georgia? How about that? Would a guy leave Michigan to coach at Georgia?
They went to a championship, yeah.
I wouldn't.
If what?
They went to a championship, yeah.
If they went to a championship?
I think so.
What are you saying?
do you mean?
Like,
Nothing.
so you, what do you mean?
I was saying if they had a great season going to Georgia, yes. I could see that happening.
No, I'm not saying would Georgia want to hire a coach from Michigan. I'm saying once you're at Michigan, you don't go to Georgia. You've got everything you need at Michigan.
Oh, it's a lateral
You're at
move.
a premier program.
Got it.
It's a lateral move. Why would you do that? Right? So if you keep going down the list, by the way, LSU number 6,
yes.
Texas A&M number 7, Florida 8, Penn State comes in at number 9 on total revenue. So they're top 10 in total revenue, and then Oklahoma is number 10. Now, that's a pretty good list of potential blue bloods. Let's keep going. Here is your recruit. I thought I screenshot this one too. We're all just hitting on all cylinders right now. Top recruiting bases in the country. Here we go. I think this is Consensus 24/7, Rivals, 5 stars. Texas had 42 on average. Florida 37, Georgia 36, California 19, Ohio 13. That's your top 5 recruiting bases in the country. So you go someplace, you want to win, you got to have money, and you got to have a good recruiting base. This is what's killed Nebraska over time. What is their recruiting base? So Pennsylvania, by the way, has a good base of college football players, but I don't look at that. Indiana comes in at number 9, by the way.
Interesting.
I don't think Pennsylvania's in the top 10, like in the old days when they churned out the quarterbacks, the Marinos, and who else was from Pennsylvania? A bunch of them. Was Jim Kelly from Pennsylvania? Go ahead, 2 days.
I just want to throw this out there. Is there any leftover, I know it was a long time ago, but from the scandal that happened at Penn State and working there and going there, is that kind of out of the, with Penn State?
Yeah, I do.
Is it still?
I'm not sure it has any lasting effect. It's got a little tarnish on the brand, right? I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying I just think is.
But do people think about it?
But James Franklin's done a good job.
I don't think people bring it up
Yeah.
anymore.
So The Athletic puts out a list of blue bloods. I think they do a good job with this every year. It's one of the reasons I subscribe to The Athletic. They do put good things out. Here's their list of true blue blood programs in America. Alabama. Patrick's going to like this. Florida State. Georgia. LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma. Miami, Notre Dame, Texas. Ohio State, Tennessee, USC. This is based on a combination of all-time win percentage and national championships. These are your blue blood programs, which I'm not sure I totally agree with all of those. They may be blue bloods, they're not all top of the mountain. This is my final job. I don't know that Tennessee could feel comfortable that they're going to hang on to a coach if Alabama comes calling. Right?
Is USC
or if
that
Georgia
anymore?
comes calling. Well, Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma for USC.
I know.
And there's no reason There's no reason they shouldn't be good. Southern California recruiting base,
The
media
campus.
market of Los Angeles. As a reason for or against, you're saying?
It's beautiful. It's a hell of a place to be.
Have you been to USC?
I have.
Have you been to USC?
Yeah.
It's in Watts.
Yeah, but the campus is great.
Once you're behind the gates?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
I visited Pepperdine and USC on the same day. My dad goes,
Whoa.
I don't get it. Why is there a debate? It's not. It's like Malibu or Watts. Which one do you want to go to? Not a lot of people say that about USC. The campus itself, you're right, is beautiful.
Yeah.
Stay on campus. And we already saw Notre Dame, who's on this list, and Oklahoma lose coaches to other teams on this list. So maybe being a blue blood isn't quite the same thing as being a top of the mountain coaching job. But in the end, I do think that Penn State is a next step up the ladder for both Matt Rule and for Kirk Signetti. I think Penn State can and most likely will get one of those guys. And I think it would be the right move for those guys. Better recruiting base, more money, and it's awesome to think about rehabilitating Nebraska, but it is so, that job has got to be one of the hardest things to do in college football. Rehabilitating Nebraska. Real quick before we go, the other one everybody's debating here is Rhett Lashley is the coach of SMU. Took him to the college football playoff last year, and now Arkansas is in the coaching market. And Rhett Lashley's from Arkansas. Is that a step up? SMU to Arkansas?
I would say so.
I mean, I think 5, 6, 7 years ago you might have said yes, right? But now, Arkansas's got the Jerry Jones billions, but SMU has got a ton of billionaires. They're going to be fine on the money. It's easier to win in the ACC than it is the SEC.
Yeah.
I don't think you leave. Dallas versus now Northwest Arkansas, by the way, is beautiful. If you haven't been to the University of Arkansas, it is absolutely beautiful. But you get the big city of Dallas. DFW is if not the top 3 recruiting bases in the country. I think you stay at SMU. You don't go to Arkansas.
I mean, if you were at Arkansas, who are you going to go recruit? Because, if you stay in the state of Texas, you have to go up against A&M, Texas, Tech now. It's like you have all these different schools that you have to go up against. But, if you're in Arkansas, where are you going to go? You're going to also go play in Texas, try to get those kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Historically, that's what it is.
Oklahoma? Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're closer to home,
hard to
you have a
do.
better shot. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's easier to recruit to SMU than it would be to Arkansas. So good luck, Penn State. I do think you are a historical blue blood. I'm not sure you were what you once were, but maybe if you get a guy like Kirk Signetti, you could once again be right there at the top of the mountain. All right, that's going to do it for us today here on Will Cain Country. We'll be back again. We'll do better tomorrow. I promise. We'll do better tomorrow. We'll see you next time.